This is the F class, and we are on page 177, but we're going over some answers here. I think that's about as far as we can go.
It is.
So we are in, what are we are?
177.
All right, so we're seeing 4. No, that's not it.
Six.
Seeing 6.
See Henry?
We got a Henry, Exeter, doesn't have a lot to say, but yes. Oh, yeah, he does. On page 179, he has a lot to say.
I'm Llewellyn.
Well, who's Exeter?
Can I be Gower?
Wait a minute, who's Exeter?
I
Are you
don't
Ex-
do it normally, but she can be.
Who's she?
Can I be Exeter?
Well, you can't be both.
Then I'll just be Exeter.
All right,
Awesome.
you be Exeter, but we need a Llewellyn.
I'll be
All right,
Llewellyn.
we got Llewellyn here. We need a Gower, you can be Gower.
Yeah, you can be
Um,
Gower.
Is that it?
Nope, I'll be Gloucester. Montjoy, who's been reading Montjoy? All right, Montjoy, Henry, Llewellyn. All right, that'll get us.
Who's Burbank?
I don't think we need him right now, do we?
There's a Williams. There's a Williams?
Williams, Bates, and Courts. You want to do Williams? Who's talking to me? Who wants to do Williams? All right, so let's begin with, I guess it's with Henry, right?
What have we done? Rice, valiant, and countrymen, but all's not done yet. Keep the French the field.
The Duke of York commends him to your majesty.
Lives he, good uncle. Thrice within this hour I saw him done. Thrice up again and fight. From helmet to the spur, all blood we want.
Okay, let's just remember that the battle has started. We already know who's winning. Who's winning?
English.
Okay, we know that from the French, who were talking about the disorder of their troops. That was, we know historically that was due to the archers killing so many of the knights. And so let's go back to, oh, they're talking about York. York is his cousin. Let's go back to Exeter.
In rich array, brave Caesar, doth he lie, marred in the plain, and by his bloody side, York fellow, to his honor owing wounds. The noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York all havoc over.
Okay, circle both those names. They're two of the very few Englishmen who died according to Shakespeare. And relatively speaking, the English did lose very few men in comparison.
You said the first time do that.
Suffolk and York are among the few men who died. They're really the two nobles. The only two nobles died, and that was those two. Okay, Taylor, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Comes to find him where and gone he lay in. Sorry, all havoc over. Comes to him where and worn he lay in steeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes, that bloody did yawn upon his face. He cries aloud, "Tarry, my cousin Suffolk, my soul shall thine and keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine. Thine fly abreast, as in this glorious and well-foughten field, we keep together in our Calvary."
Sure.
Sorry, chivalry. Upon these words I came and cheered him up. He smiled me in the face, brought me his hand, and with a feeble grip says, "Dear my lord, commend my service to my sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm and kissed his lips. And so exposed to death, with blood he sealed a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced those waters from me, which I would have stopped, but I had not so much of man in me. And all my mother came into my eyes and gave up to tears.
I blame you not. For hearing this, I must perforce compound with my full eyes, or they will issue you to alarum. Oops. Is that?
It's alarm.
Stage direction.
But hark, what new alarum is this same? The French have reinforced their scattered men. Then every soldier kills his prisoner. Give the word then.
Through. All right, so notice what he tells them to do, because the French are coming back, they're being reinforced. he says we've got to kill our prisoners. If you keep prisoners, you got to guard them. And so sometimes you don't want to do that. Killing prisoners, though, is not a good thing. That's usually more than frowned on by kind of international consent. If you say no quarter, the term no quarter, if you announce that to your men and you raise a black flag literally, or just you say the word, that means you are not going to take prisoners, which means you're going to kill the prisoners. You're not going to take them, you're going to kill them. And that's not, these are unarmed people. Prisoners are always unarmed. All right, so that's where we are. We'll go to scene 7 where the English, these are the English guys, Llewellyn.
Kill the boys and the luggage, 'tis expressly against the law of arms, 'tis an arrant a piece of knavery, mark you now, as can be offered in your conscience now, is it not?
'Tis certain there's not a boy left alive, and the cowardly rascals that ran from the battle have done this slaughter. Besides, they have burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent. Wherefore the king most worthily hath caused every soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. Oh, 'tis a gallant act.
Aye, he was born at Monmouth, Captain Gower. What call you the town's name where Alexander the Pig was born?
Now, why he calls him that, I have no idea. Alexander the Great is who he's talking about, but he calls him Alexander the Pig.
Alexander the Great.
Why, I pray you, is not pig great? The pig, or the great, or the mighty, or the huge, or the magnanimous, or all the reckonings, save the phrase is a little variations.
I think Alexander the Great was born in Macedon. His father was Philip of Macedon, as I take it.
I think it is in Macedon where Alexander is born. I tell you, Captain, if you look in the maps of the world, I warrant you shall find, in the comparisons between Macedon and Monmouth, that the situations, look you, is both alike. There is a river in Macedon, and there is also, moreover, a river at Monmouth. It is called Wye at Monmouth, but it is out of my brains what is the name of the other river. But 'tis all one, 'tis alike as my fingers is to my fingers, and there is salmons in both. If you mark Alexander's life well, Harry of Monmouth's life is come after it indifferent well, for there is figures in all things. Alexander, God knows, and you know, in his ranges and in his furies, in his wraths and his cholers and his moods, and his displeasures and his indignations, and also being a little intoxicates in his brains, did in his ales and his anger, look you, kill his best friend Cletus.
Our king is not like him in that he never killed any of his friends.
It is not well done, mark you now, to take the tales out of my mouth, ere it is made and finished. I speak but in the figures and comparisons of it. As Alexander killed his friend Cletus, being in his ales and his cups, so also Harry Monmouth, being in his right wits and his good judgments, turned away the fat knight with the great belly doublet. He was full of jests and gipes and knaveries and mocks. I have forgotten his name.
Sir John Falstaff.
That is he, I'll tell you. There is good men born at Monmouth.
Here comes his majesty.
All right, Henry.
I was not angry since I came to Greenwich. Oops. Until this instant, take a trumpet, herald. Ride down until the horsemen on your hill, on yon hill. If they will fight us with us, bid them come down or void the field. They do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, we will come to them and make their scare away as swift as stones, and force from an old Assyrian slings. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them so.
Okay, pause. So the last thing we talked about was the fact that Henry ordered his prisoners to be killed. We get a little more information about that. Llewellyn and Gower are comparing, well, at least Llewellyn is comparing Henry to whom?
Alexander the Great.
Right. And he's got a lot mixed up there, but,
And he says, born, not born.
right. And I don't know why he talks like that, but he does. One interesting little thing that you pick up, Llewellyn did, that they both were born near rivers and so forth, but he says that Alexander killed his best friend Cletus. And Gower says, our king is not like that in him. He never killed any of his friends. And then it says here, as Alexander killed Cletus, being in his ales and his cups, so also Harry Monmouth, being in his right wits and good judgment, turned away the fat knight with great belly doublet. He was full of jesting, jipes, and knaveries and mocks. I have forgot his name, Sir John Falstaff. What did we say about John Falstaff? Why did he die?
That's a traitor, right?
That wasn't the
No,
traitor.
Henry kind of left him when he became king.
Yes, he deserted him, and so Falstaff died of a broken heart. So in that respect, he's also like, strangely enough, ironically, like Alexander, who apparently killed his best friend. Henry sorta killed his best friend.
Kind of mean, he left his friend.
What?
Kind of mean, he left his friend when he became.
Yeah, we talked about that. You know, you have to make difficult. Well, not only that, but what did he do with Nim and Bartle?
Killed them, but they were also, they did something
traded.
bad.
They did. They did. They deserved it.
And so he said that it's only just that he killed the people who committed the murder.
Right.
Like, if he didn't kill somebody who was his friend who committed murder, wouldn't it be the same as?
That's right. So as a, I think one of the major things, and we heard it today, I thought almost every candidate said, what makes a good leader? And it's what we've been talking about here. Henry is a good leader. That doesn't mean he does always good things, but he's able to rally and lead people to the ends that he's going after. And so he's made some tough decisions. Ignoring Falstaff ended in his death, killing his friends. Those are tough decisions. What we don't like, we've said this before, happens with a lot of powerful men. They take care of their own. You know, in other words, they make exceptions for family members, and some of them are criminals, and they'll cover for them, and that's we don't like that. We understand the sentiment, but you have to be more than just a brother now, or a son, or even a husband. You are a leader of an entire country, yeah. So anyway, we know now a little more about why he killed his prisoner.
Here comes the herald.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Why did he kill his prisoner?
Oh, so that, yeah, because they were coming back like strong.
That was part of it, but there's another reason we find out here.
Where it says, enforced from the old Assyrian slings.
Well,
Besides, we'll cut through.
we'll go back to the beginning of the scene. Fluellen says, kill the boys and the luggage, this expressly against the law of arms.
They destroyed Carrie's town,
Who's that?
the French.
And what else did they destroy?
The little boy.
Not just boy, but all the boys. Now, there are a lot of boys in combat, you know, they could be, what do you call them? Not squires, but pages. You know, they're young children sometimes in combat. They're not fighting, but they're in and around. But our boy, the guy that was friends with Nim, Bardolph, and Pistol, was among them, and all the boys were killed. They were all slaughtered. They were unarmed children that the French who were running from battle killed and took the stuff from Henry. So, again, that one of the questions I want to ask you next week, and I'll even put it on the exam, what are the costs of war? Like, what does war cost people? And clearly, it cost money because the church was giving money, but far more valuable than money are lives. And look at some of the lives. This would be an example of the terrible cost of war, that boys are killed. Innocent boys are killed. Maybe unarmed, probably are, because they have no match for a grown-up man. And so Henry is angry. Okay, Exeter, Montjoy enters, and Exeter, where are you?
Here comes the herald of the French, my liege.
His eyes are humbler than they used to be.
Now, what means this, Harold? Knowest thou not what that I have find these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for ransom?
No, great king, I come to thee for a charitable license, that we may wander over this body to look our dead and then to bury. To sort our nobles from our common men, so many of our so do our Wilbur French, their present lives and blood of princes, and the wounded steeds. Fret, but loud, deep in the earth, through wild rage, your out of their armed fields, at their dead masters, killing them twice. Oh, give us thee, great King, to view the fear and safety and dispose of their dead bodies.
So what's Montjoy asking for?
To be able to look over the field and find their men, and to like separate the nobles from the peasant, or from the commoners, and to be able to like mark who is dead and who's alive.
Have you ever thought of that in battle? You've got this field of dead and dying people. You want yours back, they want theirs back, at least the ones that are still alive, and you want to bring back the bodies. So there's got to be an element in a battle of retrieving your people. What we say, no man left behind, that includes the body of soldiers. That's part of
Like
their
after
code.
the war is won, you said go back and pick them up.
Say that again?
So like after the war is won, like you guys agree, like how do people, like you guys go, like the fusion sizes go at different times to collect them in?
Well, they just mentioned this right here, that Montjoy is saying, we want to have a truce so we can get our dead and dying. So there's sometimes an agreement. I never saw the whole movie, but the movie, what was the name of that movie? It was about the Battle of Okinawa in World War II, and the guy was
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. He was a conscientious objector, and so he was a medic. He didn't fight. He would go back up the mountain, the cliff, and all he did was go get the wounded and bring them back and lower them down. He'd go get some more wounded and bring them back. That's a major part of any battle, is what do you do with your wounded? All right, so, King, Henry.
I tell thee truly, Harold, I know not if today if the owners are known. For yet many of your horsemen fear and gallop o'er the field.
Montjoy?
Today's rulers, praise be to God, and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by?
They call it Agincourt.
Then call we this the field of Agincourt, fought on the day of Crispianus.
Your grandfather of famous memory, Aunt pleased your majesty, and your great uncle Edward, the Black Prince of Wales, as I have read in the chronicles, fought a most brave battle here in France.
They did, Llewellyn.
Your majesty says very true. If your majesty's is remembered of it, the Welshmen did good service in a garden where leeks did grow, wearing leeks in their mouth caps, which your majesty knows this hour is an honorable badge of the service, and I do believe your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek upon St. Tavy's day.
I wear it for a memorable honor, for I am Welsh. You know, good countrymen.
All the water and way cannot wash your majesty's Welsh blood out of your body. I can tell you that. God bless it and preserve it, as long as it pleases his grace and his majesty too.
Thanks, good, my countrymen.
My Jeshu, I am your majesty's countryman. I care not who know it. I will confess it to all the world. I need not to be shamed of your majesty. Praise be God, so long as your majesty is an honest man.
God keep me so. Our heralds go with him. Bring me just notice of the numbers dead on both our borders.
Okay, we'll pause. What's going to happen here is that scene between Williams and Henry. Remember the cap with the glove in it? That's going to take place. So it also provides a little bit of comic relief. All right, so I think we're good till 2:30, then we'll have the last part. A question, he asked,
I thought I possibly read.
I'm looking right at it,
Yeah,
it
the
says
elections.
2:30. To answer me this question, it says, it says, I do not know if the day be ours or no. Who won the battle of Agincourt? English did. How do we know who wins a battle?
Montjoy even says it right there.
Right, he does. But how do we know who wins a battle? We've talked about this before.
You get control of the land.
Yeah,
You get to like name,
what?
name it? No, you didn't name it, right?
Well, he did, but,
You said it.
usually, the winner of a battle is one who occupies the field of battle when it's over. Like, sometimes you capture a town, you know, it's, whatever, but, you don't have to kill every one of your enemy. A good army's not gonna let himself be killed, every single person killed, so the battle is over, whoever occupies the ground where the battle was fought is considered the winner. And I've asked you this before, who won the Battle of Guilford Courthouse?
The English, or the British.
The British won. And why by that? Why did we say they won?
They took over the land.
What?
They took over like that field that.
Right, General Greene retreated from the field of battle, yet it was a Pyrrhic victory.
Because they lost more men than it was worth.
That's right, they lost, I think, 500 men out of their 2,000 men that day, and so they had to retreat the next day, so even though it was technically a defeat for Greene, he's considered a hero of the revolution because they inflicted so much loss. All right, well, we don't have a lot of time, we have a couple of minutes. Williams enters, and Henry speaks to him. Oh, wait, actually, Henry speaks to Exeter.
Soldier,
Right before that, Henry. Is Henry over there?
he said that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just say it again so I can hear. Call yonder.
Where? Oh, the God keeping servant.
Call yonder fellow.
Oh, call yonder fellow Hitler.
Soldier, you must come to the king.
Soldier, why wearest thou that glove in my cap?
To please your majesty, 'tis the gage of one that I should fight withal if he be alive.
An Englishman?
And to please your majesty, a rascal that swaggered with me last night, who, if alive, and ever dare to challenge this glove, I have sworn to take him a box over the ear. Or if I can see my glove in his cap, which he swore, as he was a soldier, he would wear it if alive, I will strike it out soundly.
What think you, Captain Blow? Is it fit this soldier keep his oath?
He is a craven and a villain else, and please your majesty and my conscience.
It may be his enemy is a gentleman of great sort, quite from the answers of his degree.
Though he be as good a gentleman as the devil is, as Lucifer and Beelzebub himself, it is necessary, look your grace, that he keep his vow and his oath. If he be perjured, see you now, his reputation is a villain and a jack sauce as ever his black shoe trod upon God's ground and his earth in my conscience.
Then keep thy vows, Sirrah, when thou meetst this fellow.
Okay, who is the fellow that Williams is looking for?
King, the
And
king.
he's standing right there, but apparently he doesn't have the glove on his hat, so he knows this is the king. He doesn't guess at all that this is the same God, so he says, keep your oath, whatever you promise to this guy, keep it. Then William says,
So I will, my liege, as I live.
Who servest thou under?
Under Captain Gower, my liege.
Gower is a good captain, and he has good knowledge and literature in the wars.
Call him hither to me, soldier.
I will, my liege.
now you gotta see, you can't see this, I mean, if you watch it, it would make sense. Williams exits the stage, and Henry gives his glove to Fluellen. So you can see already in advance that it's going to be a comic scene, because Fluellen's gonna have the glove of Henry, but he has no clue what's going on here, so, Henry.
Here, Llewellyn, wear thou this favor for me, and stick it in thy cap. When Alcon and myself were down together, I plucked this glove from his house. If any man challenge this, he is a friend to Alancon, and an enemy to our person. If thou encounter any such apprehension, and thou dost me love.
Your grace does me as great honors as can be desired in the hearts of his subjects. I would fain see the man that was but 2 legs that shall find himself aggrieved at this glove, that is all. But I would fain see it once, and please God of his grace that I might see.
Knowest thou Gower?
He is my dear friend, and please you,
Pray thee, go seek him, and bring him to my tent.
I will fetch him.
My lord of Warwick, and my brother Gloucestershire.
Wait a minute.
Gloucestershire.
2 syllables.
Follow Llewellyn closely at thy heels. The glove which I have given him for a favor may happily purchase him a box of thy youth. It is the soldiers. I bargain I by bargain should wear it myself, follow good cousin wore with it. If not, the soldiers strike him as I judge by his blunt bearing, then I will keep his word. Some sudden mischief may arise from it. For I do know Llewellyn valiant, and touched with color, hot as gunpowder, and quickly will return an injury. Follow, to see there be no harm between you. Go ye with me, Alexander.
So tomorrow we'll pick up at scene 8, but you notice what he told Llewellyn. He said, this is actually a Frenchman's glove I found in the battle, and if anybody challenge you, he's a friend of the Frenchman. So he makes up this story, so Llewellyn will be angry at the glove, and Williams will be angry at the glove, because he thinks this is the guy. So this is so typical of Shakespeare in so many of his plays. Mistaken identities are really funny. All right, well done. We have one more scene, basically, which we will get to tomorrow. And we will do, we're not quite ready, guys. We're not quite ready. We will get to the review. I may give it to you tomorrow. Since y'all are ahead, you deserve to get started sooner. But I may give you a little information about Act 5 without having to read. We might even read a little bit, you know.
We have the
like-
vocab tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do the vocab first before that. So we have just one more scene to read.
All we do
Who reminded him we had vocab?
She didn't have- She's reminding you, not me. I wasn't planning to forget it.
I was hoping you would.
Good morning, Catherine. Your favorite time.